the idea of Pursue Vegas was to really highlight the local people that really make Vegas, Vegas.
I love that aspect of how these visionaries are actually bringing people together.
When we hit record, our responsibility is to connect the people of our city so we can show the world who we really are.
Welcome back to the Pursue Vegas podcast. I'm your host, Dave Berlin.
And I'm your co-host, Tawny Nguyen.
And we have a very special guest today. It is a fellow veteran entrepreneur. He has probably one of the most incredible beards happening in Las Vegas right now. But among other things, we have Brandon Mills. Brandon, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you.
What are you excited about, my friend?
Oh, man, I'm excited about so many things. Right now, I'm excited about the growth that my company is experiencing. We've reached a level that I didn't know we'd be able to reach by this point, and it's just still going.
Love it. Tell us about the company.
Yeah, so Total Promotion Company. It's a shop here in town in Las Vegas that produces physical branding on merchandise, promotional products, apparel. Anything that needs a logo or artwork, we're able to facilitate and make happen. We take people's ideas and concepts and turn it into a reality for them and for anything that they're wanting to do.
I love it. I know that I've repped many of your apparels across multiple different brands because you've done stuff for, I think you've done some stuff for Bunker Labs. You've done some stuff for Sacred Soldier. Sacred Soldier. Shout out to friend of the show,
Yep.
Josh Hallu. I'm not on ayahuasca right now. So tell us of when we met through Bunker Labs.
Yeah.
So we carry the same thing for veteran stuff, but if I understand it right, you're from here, right?
Yeah, yes and no. I moved here the middle of my 7th grade year.
Nice.
Kind of moved all over the country for a while, but this is where my family decided to put down roots.
Nice.
And we moved out to Boulder City, and that's where I started going to school. Graduated. I couldn't wait to leave when I was here. When I was a kid, I wanted to get out. And so when I graduated, I went to University of Nevada, Reno, UNR. And that was about as far away as I could get at the time. And from there, I studied criminal justice. Not that I did anything with it, but it was really fun getting that degree. It was very fascinating to me, all the different modes of thought when it comes to that. So
Nice.
I want to circle back to, like, in the merch game, right? For a long period of time, like advertising and marketing, and they said, like, oh, merch is dead because of the whole sustainability factor and the eco factor. And
Sure.
now I think that it's so important to have brands, like, represented well. Like, why do you think it's so important for that aspect of merch to make its comeback in terms of, like, the marketing and brand representation?
when it comes to like marketing and branding, you want to try to develop your name behind that image, that design, so that when it is seen in public, it's a reminder of your company, of your organization. You're able to express, through others. I mean, you have walking billboards, all over the place, mm-hmm. and it's also a topic of conversation too. So, if you're representing a brand, if you're wearing a particular piece of apparel, it sparks conversation as well. So people will see mm-hmm. it on your shirt and say, "Oh, tell me about that. What is, what are you wearing right here? What is that?" Or but then it could also just be something really fun and just. It's all about self-expression and getting people to do that on your behalf.
Yeah. So for that, I'm sure you've seen a lot of creative stuff. What's one of the more clever ones where you felt like the shirt or the brand or what it said like got people to really at least take action or like engage?
There's a lot of different unique ways that people can represent their brands. Right now with generative AI, all sorts of different types of design is able to come into the forefront. Going from concept to finished product really, really fast. Some creative branding. I would say something that's got a unique design, but it there's all sorts of different ways, I suppose, that it all comes down to the person that's wanting to put forth that image and that represent their brand in a particular way, whether that be through comedy or seriousness or elegance. Some people they want to have embroidered polos or shirts, and they want to represent that elegance, whereas others they want to use humor, and you could have a combination of both. It's we do a lot of that on our own as well. So we'll have some nice embroidered stuff, and then and like I have a shirt that is a cartoon avatar of myself. It says my AI avatar is DTF at Total Promotion Company. DTF being direct to film.
Yeah.
But,
That's good.
Yeah.
That's
Nice.
good.
so
Little play on words there.
but that sparks conversation as well.
Yeah.
And it's funny. And I've got it's there's so many different ways that people can go about it, and we offer some design consultation as well, and we can do design depending on what the needs of the client are.
Yeah.
We can help them out with that as well.
Yeah.
Now, and how competitive is that here in Vegas? I mean, I feel like there's got to be a lot of competition because there's some people that just work with the conferences. There's some people like. Where do you find yourself fitting into the niches, but also what is the market like here?
Sure. I find the industry that I am in to be very, very collaborative. I feel it's almost like we don't have competition. There's so much work. There's so much different kinds of niche markets out there. And so, somebody that has a similar business to mine might be servicing, schools, and another might be servicing the construction industry. We're kind of a catch-all. We try to service whoever we can. Another thing is that there's so many different methods and production processes, and so for instance, we have some production processes that really not too many people have when it comes to producing digital print for fabrics. And what's that allowed us to do is sell that portion to what would be our competitors, and now they are our clients. And so I like to call them co-competitors.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's a good word.
Clever.
Yeah.
You should put that on a T-shirt.
I
know
It's
a guy.
better than
Yeah.
a frenemy in this town.
Yeah, better than having frenemies. No, that's great.
No, I love that aspect because I grew up, I still am like emo kid for life. So I grew up in the back of like punk rock shows, getting in mosh pits, buying
Yeah.
T-shirts everywhere I go, even with the rave scene and EDM scenes. And it just never left me. So I always love merch. But, you mentioned conferences and I feel like it's just so bombarded. But like, I'm not going to lie, like I love a good pen. Like I'm always like going to hoard every single pen because you never know what you're going to get out of, like when you're going to need it.
Yeah.
But I think it's funny when I brought up the whole rock band scene because, you brought up the beard and it's like, it kind of looks like you'd be in a fucking like, like the best player on Rock Band ever if we recruit you. Because we were talking about you being in Texas and how you couldn't leave here and like oil drilling and all this stuff in the green room, so it's just like while we're sitting here, we want to wonder like, why'd you come back to Vegas? Like, what makes it the place for you to want to come back after wanting to leave it for so long?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of a long story, but I'll kind of sum it up. I got out of the Army in Texas at Fort Hood, and I ended up staying in Texas for about 6 more years. Somebody that I served with in Korea helped me to get on at a company that was out of Victoria, Texas. And I started working, and I excelled. I was really good at what I did, and I enjoyed it too. I really enjoyed the work. But when it came down to it, I was selling my time. I was selling my hours, and I tried to maximize how much I sold my hours for, and then I sold as many as I could, and I made a lot of money. It was great. I mean, I had a hobby ranch in Texas. We had horses and cattle and big garden, and it was a lot of property.
Four-wheelers and stuff?
No, I didn't have 4-wheelers. I did have an awesome Jeep, though.
Nice.
The good life.
Yeah. So
Texas. That's Texas.
That's right. From the outside, it looked like I was doing really well, but it was killing me just because I was just working all the time. It was taking me away from my kids. It was taking me away from my family, and what ended up happening was some politics in the oil industry. My company sold off our department to another company, and our equipment and us, and they didn't want us, which was fine. Because I was working 7 hours from home. I was working 2 weeks on, 1 week off. So I ended up getting laid off, which they had to pay out the rest of my year. And so that was great. So that was a whole nother chunk of money that was coming my way. And I found another job that was closer to home, and it was 3 weeks on, 1 week off. And I was like, and they're like, oh, you're getting paid the same. I was like, this isn't the same. It's the same money at the end of the day, but I got to work 33% more in order to get that. And it was really in the culture of that company. It was just not what I liked. It was just everything about it was just felt wrong. And I was going through some trouble with my wife of the time. And I was just in a split moment, I just thought, you know what, I have to change this. And so I up and came out to Vegas. I had work the next day, and I just didn't go. I grabbed my kids. We drove out here, and then for the next few months, I was like, okay, what am I gonna do? And I don't want to go back to doing what I was doing. Wanted to change it up completely. So I was looking for opportunity. I had some money in the bank, and I thought, all right, let me see what's available. I came across the company that I have now. It was an older gentleman and his wife, and they had some old equipment, a book of business, and they were producing merchandise for various clients. And I thought, okay, I think I could probably take this. They were running everything on QuickBooks Desktop with old equipment. I thought, well, let me take this business and bring it up to the 21st century. We'll put in some new equipment, some systems and processes, and see what we can do, and see if we can grow this thing. Well, less than 3 months later, COVID lockdowns happened, and it made for a very challenging time because all the orders stopped, and it was just like, okay, well, now we've got no incoming revenue. The book of business that I had pretty much bought was lucky if I had a small percentage of them stick around or even stay in business. During that time, I still had my Jeep. And during lockdowns, there was no events going on. The event space was dead. So I'd go out and I'd go play with the Jeep groups. And there was business owners within those Jeep groups. And I discovered the power of networking through playing, which was great. So I thought, well, there's not much to do. We'll go play. And then was able to continue on with business. There are winners and losers of every economy. And the winners of the COVID lockdown economy was those essential businesses. So it was plumbers, it was electricians, it was a lot of these companies that were doing fantastic. We started targeting them and started producing for those types of companies during that time, and we're able to make it through.
I love that.
That is an essential business.
It is, yeah. And you mentioned networking. You said you found it within that Jeep group. What's changed about how you look at networking since then?
I've discovered that if I put myself out there, good things happen. I come across more opportunities. More people are exposed to who I am, and I've gained a whole lot of friendships along the way. And those friendships, I've been able to cultivate them into very trusting, very, very, very beneficial relationships, both personal and business. And there's a saying that you're more likely to make friends of your clients than clients of your friends. And I feel like I have so many friends right now, and it's all surrounding the networking that I've done throughout the last few years. I never knew what networking was. I had no idea. And during lockdowns, I could not isolate. I could not stay in. I knew it was all a bunch of bullshit anyway. So I found some groups. We founded some groups as well. of different business owners that wanted to further their business and continue, economically.
I think the most important thing I got out of that is when you brought up play, like play is so important, but most people in business, especially networking and especially around here, they think of networking and they execute it in such a transactional way to where they think they just show up to as many events as possible, take pictures with as many people as possible, post it all over their social media, like give away as many cards as possible. But I'm like, okay, what's your intention behind it? Mm-hmm. Did you actually talk to one person or did you just hand out 50 cards?
Right.
So the concept of play and being able to integrate that part of your life with the Jeep and like your love of like outdoors and the ranch life and actually making friends around that and the ideology around like building your lifestyle and then making friends around what you like and then doing business together is so much more holistic, is so much more, impactful. And that's why like we're huge on networking, not because of how many social clout or likes or followers that you're able to amass from any of these events. I think that's just a byproduct of who you are as a person. But if you're not a playful person and if I don't know you as a person, like it's honest, right? Like it's just transactional. And after I'm like, who's that guy we talked to?
Yeah. Right.
But if we have at least one moment in human connection together, like how we become friends, like a joke or something super inappropriate or something like that. And you're like, oh, I remember that. And you start laughing to yourself. And you're like, oh, that dude was cool. Like, I'm going to give him a call and see what's up. And that's how some of my most authentic, genuine friendship and business relationship has come out of. It's because of play.
Right.
Like, I'll roast somebody or we'll make a joke. You know what I mean? They're, what are you from? Fucking New York? And like, we're doing business together. And if it wasn't for that play moment, we would never talk to each other. We're all like, oh, hi, nice to meet you. Like, here's my call me. And I'm like, why should I fucking call you?
Yeah, most conversations I'll have at networking events, I don't lead with, what I do. I don't force a business card. I want them to ask me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I want them to have interest, because if they have interest, then it's going to be more meaningful. I don't give out business cards unless I'm asked for it. There's some people at business events that will just they lead with the business card, and they're like, here you go, and you're like,
shove it in your hand.
Yeah, and I've got my pocket system. You're either a wallet business card person, which means I'm definitely going to get a hold of you. You got a back pocket, which is okay. I'm going to go through that when I get back to the office, and then I've got one that's just going straight to the trash.
Oh wow!
So that's good.
That is good.
Mine is kind of it's pretty bad. It depends on the day, because the thing about girl clothing is that you can't pay enough for a fucking pocket.
Yeah.
Right.
So it just depends on what day and what coat I wear and what
Yeah.
pants, because most of them don't come with pants 80% of the times.
Yeah.
So I'm stuck in one pocket, and that's for my phone, and I just shove the cards behind them, and then I forget about it. I just stick my phone, I hang the coat up. So until I wear that coat again or something, I stick my hand and get stabbed by a bunch of cards. I'm like, who the fuck are these people?
Yeah.
And they become the little thing I pick my teeth with.
My
after.
significant other has a pocket in my pants. It's the back right pocket, and it's her pocket. And she can fit anything in there she wants, and so because she doesn't have pockets,
That's great.
Women clothing.
I'm gonna come home and demand that immediately.
You got to pick a pocket, But
Pick
it can't
one,
mess,
it's
it can't
always
mess
that
with
one.
his.
Yeah.
You can't mess with his pocket system. It's got to be an available pocket.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to be like, I thought they were all mine.
Yeah. Right.
And he's like,
yeah.
well, that's why you have a purse. And he puts stuff in my purse.
Oh,
What
yeah.
the hell's going on, dude?
Well, if something doesn't fit in my pocket, then it goes straight to the purse. It's a mutual thing.
Yeah. That's a really good system.
Well, you brought up the networking part of it, and I get fascinated on that,
Sure.
and I've said it a million times, and I wish it would fit on a shirt, because
Yeah.
that's my whole thing when it comes to networking is not about getting the next business card. It's not about getting the next invoice. Right? Networking is about unlocking infinite opportunities in every person that you meet. Pandemic changed the game for a lot of people. Some people, it was a very rewarding experience. Some people, it was more challenging than not. But there's a big part of the population that is not passing around the same business card that they were before a pandemic. Roles change. Like I've ran into it every time where it's like you'll meet one of those sales guys at one of the events and they'll stab you with the business card and they're like, hey, this is what I'm selling right now and here's who I am and blah, blah, blah. And then like a year later, they're not even with that company anymore.
Right.
And like I don't even want to talk to that dude anymore. Yet there's people that I've never bought from or they've never bought from me, but we've always been cordial. We've always become friends, and not
Sure.
only that, it opens up my whole network of people that might need to buy from you.
Well, and then also the person you're talking to, they might not ever have a need for what you have, and you might not ever have a need for what they have. But guess what? They have a whole network of their own
Yep.
people, and if they believe in you and they trust in you. Anytime that need arises from one of their friends, they're going to send them your way, and now all of a sudden you have a great referral partner that's a friend.
Yeah.
Like, it's great.
And if you try to close somebody, or if you try to put them into your pipeline, like, they'll close you off.
Yeah.
And then this has happened to me 100 times at least. I'll have a great conversation with somebody. I'm normally talking about books because that's what I love talking about. We'll nerd out on it forever, and then we'll walk away and sometimes 5 days from now, sometimes 5 months from now, sometimes 5 years from now, I'll get a connection from that person. They'll say, Dave, I remember the conversation we had in 2018, and I remember you saying something about the work you do with veterans. I want to introduce you to, and it's like this miracle connection that opens up all the doors, changes all kinds of lives for people, and that's only because I didn't try to stab them with a business card. Like, we make the joke, like, the reason why we're in this studio right now, I met Trevin 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Right? 6 years ago, and he often says that out of all the networking events that he's ever been to, I'm one of the only people that he remembers because it was just something weird about the way that I didn't try to pitch him. And at the time, I worked for a very large sales and leadership firm. I could have easily tried to get him into my pipeline and get him to have a one-on-one consultation with me and tried to sell him on some sales coaching. But I never did. And then here we are now,
I think
5 years later,
when you're building organic relationships and when you're building, organic, I guess, complete networks, is what it is, and now you have a circle of friends. It's I always say Vegas is so small because everywhere I go, I'm going to run into one or two people that I know. It doesn't matter where I go. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And there's so many overlapping circles too. Be like, hey, you know what? I know somebody over here that needs something from this circle over here.
Yep.
And before you know it, now the circles are merged, and now everybody knows everybody, and it's wild how that happens.
They said that we have 2 million people, and I know all 50.
Yeah.
But you're right, and like the way you found it in the Jeep group, we have a veteran community that's very, very close. We all work together. There's a whole startup community. Some other friends of the show, Taylor and Tyler, they'll be on. They found their niche very much in the car community.
Right.
As they've continued to build in the car community, that they realized that like all of the clients that they would ever need are in that community. Whether it be hosting events or social media or any of that stuff, and it's just like you can kind of go into any of those. And then the most unique thing about us being here in Vegas is like the whole world comes to us and through us at some point as well. So it gives us that opportunity to unlock entire communities and circles in other cities as well.
The really cool thing too is that you can pick your niche. You can do the things you want to do. You can do the things you love to do. And from that, you grow networks, you grow opportunities, and the things. So going back to saying playing, pick what it is. Are you an avid fisherman? Go out and talk to the fishers. Off-roading community was just one that I enjoyed doing, and unfortunately, during lockdowns, I ended up having to sell my Jeep to get the equity out of it in order to keep the business going. But since then, I've gotten a truck now. I mean, there's so many things. I find myself so busy, but it's also busy by choice. I get to do the things that I like to do, that I love to do. With the people that I like, with the people that I love. I'm in such a great position now because of that, and they say your network is your net worth, and there's so many wonderful, amazing people here in Vegas. It's just it's fantastic,
and most people don't expect that.
I know.
Yeah.
I think everyone has this weird impression that everyone lives in hotels. I mean, I live in the Cosmo, but that's different. I'm just kidding. But no, like everyone,
dude.
I feel like everyone,
I was like, look at
I feel like everyone has a perception of what Vegas is from what they see from the outside. But there's real people here, real people that came, that are from here. I've met all 9, I think. But there's also people that have come from other places. It's always funny because you mentioned you're in Texas for a while. I'm from Oklahoma, and it's just something about Midwest hospitality. Like, I've offered this to people many times. Like, I'll pick people up at the airport, and they're like, "What?" And I'm like,
Yeah, I do that too. I drop them off too.
Right.
And they're like, what? I was like, you don't have to pay me. Like, it's okay. Like, I offered. I know what I'm offering. You know?
But it's one of those things where it's just nice to have a familiar face. Even if it's somebody that you've met through other circles, you've met them online or something like that. Like, when they come here and they find out that you're a real person, it just kind of changes what people might perceive about Vegas, and that's been our mission, is like show the world who we really are.
Well, Vegas. There's every city has got some kind of industry, but there's an entire ecosystem surrounding that industry that has nothing to do with what that industry is. And so I don't do any kind of gambling. I'm not.
No hookers and blow for you?
No hookers and blow. Not since that last time with Dave.
I wasn't invited.
No,
But her.
No, there's the ecosystems surrounding all of the different types of industry, and there's also a lot of new industry that's beginning to grow here as well. Nevada being a much more hospitable place for businesses, as opposed to some maybe our neighboring state, California, which when we've had a huge growth of an influx of people from California. Like you're one of them.
Like 800
first wave escapee.
Right.
800 people move here today.
As long as they don't vote the same way they did to turn Nevada into another California.
I did not escape a communist fucking country my childhood just to live in a communist state. All right. Got the hell out of there.
During the lockdowns, I ran for state senate as a libertarian, and the Republican that I was running against, turns out he's actually a pretty good guy, Jeff Stone. But at the time, the only thing I knew about him was that he was a California politician coming to Nevada and running for politics. And I thought, oh, hell no. No, we can't be doing this here. We cannot be turning Nevada into California, which it seems to be kind of.
No, never. No, something I want to acknowledge, since when you first started the show with what you're excited about with your business, it's like the way that it's growing. And I see so much of that in how you're expressing it. It's because now I see the true freedom in business ownership here. Is because your freedom comes from not only just getting clients just to get clients, but choosing and the ability to just not work with people you don't like for money. And I think that's the next level that unlocks, opportunities around here. Is like, first level of freedom might be the financial and your business is doing well. It's cash flowing, but you've experienced a lot of cash and you hate your life, and there are a lot of other business owners just like that.
I shifted my values in that before I valued the money, thinking that was the key to freedom, and it wasn't. The more money I made, I did not receive more freedom. In fact, the trajectory that I was on in the oil industry, my next move for my career, had I stayed, was going to pull me away for 3 months at a time with a few days off in between. And I thought, man, and it was going to make me a ton of money. It was going to make me a lot of money. But the freedom aspect, I realized that freedom is what I value more than money. I view money as a tool. It's a byproduct of helping people. And if you do it right, you can accumulate more and help more people and use it to grow and expand. We've got 10 employees now. We start we're helping our employees, we're helping our clients, we're helping everybody. And all we're doing, we're making shirts for people that want them. That's
like people like me. Like, merch is not dead. I'll stand behind all my band T-shirts. I'll wear them one day for fun. But I think that's what I love, because we're all about breaking bread with people who are not just I don't think we need to be like-minded, because
Right.
difference in opinions is actually very respectable, as
Sure.
long as you are mature enough to have the conversation on why you disagree with one another.
Right.
So we don't need to sit around and be in an echo chamber of like, yeah, I totally agree, and then we're all going to set on fire because one person thinks it's
Yeah.
a good idea, and like 3 other dumbasses are like, yeah, we should totally do that. And I'm like, no, we should not fucking do that. What the fuck are you thinking? But I think the concept of that is, coming back to networking and building businesses around here, there's a lot of people that treat people like, oh, I need to onboard like 30 leads this month. And I'm like,
Yeah.
how about you reframe that perspective? And they're like, Tony, how can I grow my business? I'm like, how about you don't say you need to onboard 30 leads? How about you focus on how can I serve 10 people, and out of that, 3
Yeah.
people, like the 10% of that, really offer them value
Yeah.
in what you're offering, and really just like honing in on your execution instead of just like kind of flowing and getting the numbers, the quantities in, but really
And-
focus on the quality,
In the last 3 months, we just now started to implement some digital marketing, whereas prior to that, it's been all word of mouth. It's that has grown my business, is word of mouth. People that are happy with our product, happy with our prices, and share it to others. And the great thing about my product is, even though it might have somebody's brand on it, somebody else's brand, we're the ones that produced it, and they say, "Wow, where did you get that?"
Yeah.
And they say, "Oh, you got to go see Brandon over at Total
Yep.
Promotion Company." And so, my product is out and visible for everybody to see,
Yeah.
which is fantastic.
Yeah, I love that concept, because we come from the world of consulting. It's always, it becomes a little transactional, but I think what I
Yeah.
grasp from both of us and why we're sitting here at the table, it's like from the streets we call it like, oh, I can't help you, but I know a guy. So
Right,
that's how I
right.
live my life.
Yeah.
Because most people just want something out of every
Yeah.
person they meet because they're trying to make that sale. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
no. I was like, I can't help you, but I know a guy, and I call someone else. But that's the power of networking, is who can you actually call that will actually pick up your phone
Yeah.
because you're a legit person, not like, oh, what is this little scammy want to sell me now?
And Vegas, I mean, if you look at the founding of Vegas, and like historically, it's always been connections. It's always been like, hey, I know a guy.
Yeah.
So it's and I can't speak to that in any other city.
Yeah.
I've had businesses in other places, but when it comes to business to business type relationships, I mean, Vegas is very much a connections town.
Yeah. No, yeah, you're not wrong. And again, sometimes those connections go beyond just the walls of Vegas.
Oh,
I mean,
sure.
it could be anywhere you go. Like,
Yeah.
if you said that you were going to Austin and you put that out to your network, like, hey, I'm going to Austin, who should I meet?
Yeah.
Like, there's going to be 10 people that say, oh my gosh, you should meet this person while
Go
you're
to
down
this
there.
restaurant. My
Yeah.
friend owns this restaurant.
Yeah.
You should check out his, you know what I mean?
Yep, and automatically you're
Yep.
in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're plugged into everywhere.
Yeah.
Based on the network that we have here.
So speaking of that, a few Vegas specific things. What are the favorite spots for you? Like, what do you like when it comes to food or experience
Sure.
or anything like that? Something that you get really excited about.
Yeah. Oh man. I mean, I love new experiences. I love trying out new places all the time. And I feel like we're so fortunate to be in Vegas because it is a culinary capital of the world. You can have and I consider myself to be a world traveler. I mean, I've traveled 42 countries in my lifetime.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, so and I've always my favorite places have always been the places that have the best food.
Yeah.
And you can find all that food here.
Yeah.
Okay,
I looked at Uber
Yeah.
Eats the other day, and
Yeah.
I just looked at it, and I was like, we're so
It's amazing.
spoiled here. Like, you can get 800 different cuisines on, like, and you can't get that anywhere else.
Yeah.
But it's like, there's literally every place in Chinatown is like
Yeah.
is on Uber Eats.
I mean, you go to some other cities around the world
Mm-hmm.
and try to find Mexican food.
Yeah.
Yeah. it's
We can get any of those like 24 hours a day.
Yeah, if you're in Asia, it's difficult.
Where's the one spot that people got to try if they haven't already?
Man, I went to Humo Barbecue recently. Being in Texas, I felt like I love barbecue, and I kind of got burnt out on it. I think just from having it so often
Sure.
when I was in Texas. But now I'm kind of circling back and finding some.
It's
good
hard to find out here.
Yeah, but there's some really good spots.
There are, but
yeah.
it is hard to find. Like, I was in Kansas City for a while, and like, man, people start fights over barbecue in Kansas City. Same in Oklahoma, and then also Texas. Like, there's some great spots in Texas, but I've had a hard time finding that. So
Tino and his wife really, they're burnt ends. Oh my goodness.
Who's?
I think Tino is his name and his wife, right?
Oh, yeah. And then
from
Jesse
Huma.
Ray's over on Boulder Highway. That's another good barbecue place.
Yeah.
There was one
I'm a rib
over
tip
in
and
the
burnt
valley,
end,
over in Spring Valley, but I think it burnt down.
There's a John Mole's Roadkill Cafe.
Okay.
That's a
That sounds killer.
good one.
Anything with roadkill got me.
Right?
They also have meat processing. So if you're a hunter, you can take your kill there, and they'll cut it all up and butcher it for you and package it up. And
I would like to find the butcher in this town that's not butcher block, you know?
yeah,
Like,
Yeah.
I want to get like a quarter
Yeah.
cow this year, you know? Goals. Like, who wants to split a cow with me? I'm going to put that out in the universe.
That's something very common that we
Yeah.
would do in Texas too. Is we'd
You want to split a cow
yeah.
together?
Yeah.
I would love to.
Oh my God.
That's great. I'll just take a couple of KC strips.
We'll give Dave all the bad cuts.
Yeah, right. All the back.
It's like, I don't want all the ground beef. Here you go, Dave. Have fun with your burgers
like,
for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
Awesome. So for anyone that may be listening to this, if you could give one piece of advice to somebody who's looking at coming to Las Vegas, what advice would you give them?
Don't screw over the locals.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Don't screw over the locals.
Don't make the blacklist.
So I mean, like everything, like we were saying, is everything is connections here.
Yeah.
And if you burn a bridge, you might be burning the bridge with the wrong person, and you might not be able to do business or anything. In Vegas.
Yeah.
You know, it's be your genuine self. Don't screw anyone over.
Yeah.
And help people.
Yeah.
You know, it's as soon as you screw somebody over, I've seen it happen to people where they try to scam someone.
Yeah.
And they don't last. They don't last. They get run out. They get run out of town.
Yep.
Or they have to go back to selling their time.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong. Yeah, that's definitely some great advice.
Mm-hmm.
And then as far as finding you, where can people go to check out the website? Where can people go to learn more about you?
Sure, totalpromotioncompany.com. That's promotion singular. A lot of people want to do Total Promotions Company for some reason. So I also bought that web domain and forwarded it forwarded it to totalpromotioncompany.com.
Nice.
And then we're over by the airport, over by Sunset and Eastern. It's
easy.
2450 Chandler Avenue, Suite 20 in Las Vegas. You can contact us at sales@totalpromotioncompany.com. The social medias is at Total Promotion Co.
Nice.
They wouldn't let me finish spelling
Too
that
many,
one out.
Too many
They're like,
characters.
too long, sir.
Yeah.
Too many characters.
It is kind of a lot to type, but once you type it in, technology is good enough to where it remembers.
I love it. And then, any closing thoughts or final words?
Man, I appreciate the opportunity to tell my story, tell who I am, what my business is, what we do. And I'm super excited to just be a part of the Vegas culture and everything here. It's fantastic. When I first came back from Texas, moving back here after being gone for almost 20 years, I thought, I don't really know anybody now, and it happens quick.
Yeah,
it happens quick. You get plugged into the right places, and before you know it, you're in the mix.
You're not wrong.
Yeah.
Awesome, man.
Yeah. Thank you guys.
You know what we're going to do after this? I think we should record like some Christmas mixtape or something.
Oh, yeah.
Like some rock band, and then split a cow.
Split cow. I just get
put that on the
bad
wish
cuts.
list.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys for tuning in with us. You know how to reach Dave and I, mostly on Instagram. If you want to get in touch with Brandon, do so, I think, on
Please.
Instagram as well. Stalk him all over the internet.
Yeah.
Or the address he gave you verbally.
Yeah.
You can't miss him with this beard,
Yeah. Well, it's a physical distinctive feature that I had no intention on like growing a beard this big, but it's worked out. So
There you go.
Yeah.
Thank you for tuning into Pursue Vegas. See you next time.
We
Bye.
are out.
All right.
And the idea of Pursue Vegas was to really highlight the local people that really make Vegas Vegas.
I love that aspect of how these visionaries are actually bringing people together.
When we hit record, our responsibility is to connect the people of our city so we can show the world who we really are.